Live from the CSI Baseball Complex on the campus of the College of Staten Island, CSI Sportsnet presents exclusive NCAA Division II baseball coverage. Today's single 9-inning matchup features the Saints of DeUville College taking on the College of Staten Island Dolphins. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Joe Foreman bringing you all of the action live from behind home plate during today's game here on the ECC Network. And the last time we saw this Dolphins team here on CSI Sportsnet, it was 6 days ago against Mercy College on Saturday, April 24th. A pair of defeats for this Dolphins team, 11-4 in Game 1 and 5-4 in Game number 2. That pair of losses extended the Dolphins' losing streak to 4 games. They come in with a record of 3-14, 3-12 in the East Coast Conference. Those 3 victories within conference coming against Lincoln, 2 of 3 games won by the Dolphins against Lincoln University this season, and against Bridgeport, that game played back on April 5th. That was the Dolphins' home opener. This afternoon, they take on the DeUville College Saints. Saints come in with a record of 2-19 on the season, looking for their first East Coast Conference victory of 2021. And a big part of the reason for the Saints' struggle so far this season has been their hitting. They come in with a team batting average of only 162 on the season. However, the Dolphins have struggled on the mound so far in 2021. They come in with a team ERA of 10.4. At the plate for the College of Staten Island, they're hitting at 2.54 on the season, and DeUville's ERA actually higher than the ERA for the College of Staten Island in 2021. They come in with an ERA of 11.03. Tasked with bringing those team ERAs down in this game are the 2 starting pitchers, Alex Zimian and Nick Metzger. Metzger gets the start for the College of Staten Island this afternoon, and for Metzger on the season, he comes in one of the Dolphins' more reliable arms on the hill. However, his ERA is still up at 7.97 in 2021. He has a whip of 2.26, and in 4 decisions has 1 victory and 3 defeats. He has appeared in 5 games, all starts in 20 1/3 innings. He has allowed 31 hits, 28 runs, 18 of those earned. He has walked 15 and struck out 8, allowing 8 doubles, 2 triples, and a pair of home runs so far in 2021. For DeUville College, as I mentioned, it will be Alex Zimian getting the start. In 28 innings pitched so far this season, Zimian has allowed 48 hits, 44 runs, 33 of those earned. He has walked 19 and struck out 21. His ERA is up at 10.61 on the season for a DeUville team that, as I mentioned before, has really struggled on the mound so far this season. Also in search of their first East Coast Conference victory are the Saints. The Dolphins looking for East Coast Conference victory number 4. I mentioned the Dolphins come in losers of 4 straight. The Saints have not won a game since the month of March. Their pair of victories on the season both came between March 9th and March 13th. A win over Hilbert in their second game of the season, a 4-1 Saints victory, and then a victory over Cazenovia back on March 13th, an 8-7 victory for DeUville College. Hoping to turn things around at the plate against a struggling Dolphins pitching staff. Leading the way for the Saints will be Jeremy Glinsky. Glinsky comes in hitting at an even 300 on the season in 60 plate appearances. He is 18 of 60 in those 60 at-bats. Those 18 base hits include 10 that have gone for extra bases. Looking down the rest of this Saints roster, only one other player hitting above the 242 mark, and that's Jared Gloniak. However, that is in only 2 plate appearances. He's 1 for 2 on the season. As for the College of Staten Island, they have several hitters up above the 300 mark on the season. However, one of them, Dom Castiglione, has not played in quite some time. He's appeared in 7 games on the season. All of those were starts. We haven't seen him since the infancy of this 2021 campaign. As for the rest of the Dolphins up above the 300 mark, those include Angel Santiago, Peter Lombardo, Shendi Ulaj, and Thomas Martin. Santiago hitting at 310, Lombardo at 313, Ulaj at 320, and Martin at 347. And with that, it appears as if both teams have been introduced, have lined up along the first and third base lines, and that the national anthem is about to be played. So we'll step aside for just a minute. When we come back, Dolphins and Saints here on the ECC Network.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can, and then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves, our vision, our heart, our drive, to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?
And it is time to play ball here at the College of Staten Island. Dolphins and Saints about to get underway as it looks like we had a very animated discussion going on to the right of home plate between one of the Duville coaches and both umpires. And he is discussing something with some passion, it looks like, appears a bit frustrated. And you can't see it on your screen. You can only see the backs of the umpires on the right side as we get the wide camera shot, and you can see the discussion that's going on right now. And it appeared to be fairly animated, but we're about to get underway, so I will bring you the starting lineup for both teams, beginning first with the starting lineup that Nick Metzger will face for the Duville College Saints. Leading things off is number 34, the right fielder, Mateo Santos. Batting second, the catcher, number 20, Jeremy Glinsky. Batting third and pitching number 26, Alex Zimian. Batting fourth and playing left field, number 4, Josh Battaglia. Batting fifth and playing first base, number 25, Shane Critelli. Batting sixth and playing center field, number 27, Alex Leem. Batting seventh and playing second base, number 3, Renato Quiones. Batting eighth and playing third base is number 2, Matt Gunther. And batting ninth and playing shortstop is number 8, Nate Mucci. For the College of Staten Island, as I mentioned just a few minutes ago during our brief pregame, getting the start is Nick Metzger. Metzger has 4 decisions on the season. He has pitched to a record of 1-3. All 5 of his appearances in 2021 have been starts. He's pitched to a 7.97 ERA with a whip of 2.26. In 20 and a third innings, he's allowed 31 hits, 28 runs, 18 of those earned, has walked 15, and struck out 8. One of a few Dolphins who has struggled with the base on balls a bit this year. This team has issued 112 walks in 135 innings pitched. If you add the hit batters that the Dolphins have also allowed, 34 of those, their walks and hit batters surpass their innings pitched in 2021. Certainly something that has been an issue for this Dolphins team so far this season. As we appear set to get underway here from the CSI Baseball Complex, as Mateo Santos will step into the box to get things started for Duville College. Santos comes in hitting at .203, 12 of 59 on the season. First pitch of the afternoon upcoming from Metzger, and that breaking ball is in for a called strike one. Early on, you can see the wind will certainly play a role in this game as Metzger loses the cap after just one pitch. The flag out in left field has been blowing in several different directions already. The wind is swirling as that one is grounded up the middle and past the diving Cipoletti for a base hit. Leadoff single for the Saints to get things started. And that will bring up Jeremy Glinsky. As I mentioned during the pregame, Glinsky, the leading hitter for the Saints team. Jared Gloniak hitting at .500, but in only 2 plate appearances. So among qualifiers, Glinsky leading Duville in batting average at an even 318 of 60. And the first pitch is looked at by Glinsky for a called strike one. In the field for the Dolphins at first base, Peter Lombardo. At second, Shendi Ulaj. At shortstop, Nick Cipoletti. At third is Angel Santiago. In left field, Louis Mandil. In center is Brian Burkhead. And in right is Thomas Joyce. As that pitch is fouled back. Count no balls and 2 strikes on Jeremy Glinsky. Also behind the plate for the Dolphins, Salvatore Trancucci, and once again on the mound, Nick Metzger. As the 0-2 pitch misses down and away for ball 1. One ball and 2 strikes. The count as Metzger looks over his shoulder towards first. And that misses down and away for ball 2. D'Youville dugout making some noise early along the first base line. As the 2-2 pitch comes in, and that is grounded through the left side for a base hit. Back-to-back singles to open up the game for D'Youville. And they have 2 on with nobody out. That will bring up Alex Zimian, the starting pitcher for the Saints. Zimian second in batting on the Saints ball club at .242, 15 of 62 on the season. Early trouble for Nick Metzger on the mound as Zimian shows bunt, and that one is bunted foul. The count on Zimian. Left-handed batter for the Saints, the first Metzger has faced in this game. Corners creeping in for the Dolphins as the 0-1 pitch misses up and away. We saw Zimian bunt at the first pitch he saw. Did not show bunt on that 0-1 pitch. And the 1-1 misses outside for ball 2. Zimian taking a long look over towards the third base coaching box with each pitch to get the signs. Here comes the 2-1 for Metzger. And that finds the inside corner for a called strike 2. With that, the bunt is likely off. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. And that one is fouled back towards the press box and into the top row of the bleachers. Dolphins will be fortunate enough to welcome some fans in for the first time tomorrow. However, today the bleachers remain unoccupied here at the CSI Baseball Complex. As the 2-2 is hit off of Metzger's foot, and he will have no play. 3 straight singles to open the game for D'Youville. They now have the bases loaded and nobody out with Josh Battaglia coming to the plate. Tough luck there for the Dolphins, as looks like Mike Morrow has come out of the CSI dugout and is having a word with the home plate umpire. Is it possible that we have yet another lineup issue? As I will bring in my engineer, Joe Masha, for the first time today. He was on hand, or I believe you were there when we had those lineup issues at softball earlier this season. And this perhaps a bit reminiscent of that is if they did bat out of order here, I didn't catch it. I'm not sure what the issue is. Let's see.
Looks like there was nothing.
It appears nothing will come of it, but you remember well, Joe, how that game was derailed by those lineup issues. You came in a bit late after that one had gotten started, but you didn't miss those delays.
No, those delays were long and lengthy, just trying to figure out where it went wrong and how to correct it.
Well, eventually they figured it out.
Yeah.
So We hear from Joe, our engineer, for the first time today. He is seated to my right as I move into the room to the left of the typical broadcast booth for today's broadcast and tomorrow's as well. Nick Durst will join me on the call midway through Game 1 tomorrow, as it was a jersey number that caused the issue. We caught that during the pregame, actually, after we had gotten the lineups. And that one is fouled away. We actually did catch that during the pregame. We had a pair of number 2s in the lineup, and the pitcher, Alex Zimian, who was batting out of the number 3 spot, is wearing number 26 today. That is his official number on the roster. However, it was written down on the lineup as number 2, and that's what created the confusion as that pitch is taken downstairs for a ball. One ball and 2 strikes the count on Josh Battaglia. And that one's chopped back toward the mound. Metzger catches it on a line. The underhand toss over to first is in time, I believe, as I thought the umpire signaled out, but he is safe as that ball was bobbled, it appeared for a moment, by Lombardo and engulfed by a cloud of dust over there. At first was the runner Zimian, but he gets back. That play almost turned into a nightmare for the Saints. So the Dolphins finally record the first out of the game, and that will bring up Shane Critelli. Critelli comes in hitting at 174 and quickly falls behind in the count 0-1. Critelli hits one well out to left center field. That will chase Mandiel back toward the wall, and that one is off the base of the fence. 2 runs are in to score, and holding at third is Zimian. It is a 2 RBI double off the bat of Shane Critelli, who nearly came up with a grand slam there. That one off the base of the wall, and the Saints have an early 2-0 lead. What a start for D'Youville College, as that will bring up Alex Leam. Leam comes in hitting at .093, 4 of 43 on the season, and he takes a called strike 1. I don't have a runs per game average for D'Youville on the season, but taking a quick look through their schedule, I only see a handful of games where they've scored more than 2 runs. It looks like 5 games, maybe 6. They have played 21 so far this season. As the 0-2 pitch just missed for ball 1. One ball and 2 strikes the count. And that one skips in for ball 2. Renato Quiones would be next. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. And that is down in the dirt for ball 3. As the count is now full, first base is open. This next pitch will be number 23 for Nick Metzger. Metzger will step off for a moment. He now toes the rubber. A payoff pitch upcoming to Alex Leam. And Leam hits one sharply right into the glove of Ulaj. The throw to second is in time to double off Critelli. And the top half of the first inning comes to an abrupt close, but not before D'Youville puts together 4 base hits and 2 runs in their first turn at bat. CSI comes to bat, trailing 2-0 when we come back for the bottom half of the first inning.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials, live music, and the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dining order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
And we are back here from the CSI Baseball Complex. A strong start for D'Youville as they put 2 runs up on the scoreboard in the top half of inning number 1. To the hill for the Saints in the bottom half of the first is Alex Zimian. And as I mentioned during the pregame, Zimian comes in with a record of 1-4. Once again, I'll try and pull up the numbers for Zimian on the season as he will face a College of Staten Island Dolphins lineup that comes in hitting at .254 on the season. For Zimian on the mound in 2021, he has thrown 28 innings, allowed 48 hits, 44 runs, 33 of those earned. He has walked 19 and struck out 21, pitching to an ERA of 10.61 on the season. The lineup he will face for the College of Staten Island is as follows. Leading off the designated hitter, number 33, Thomas Martin. Batting second is the second baseman, number 24, Shendi Ulaj. Batting third is the first baseman, number 31, Peter Lombardo. In the cleanup spot is the third baseman, number 16, Angel Santiago. Batting fifth and playing right field is number 14, Thomas Joyce. Batting sixth is the catcher, number 13, Sal Trancucci IV. Batting seventh and playing center field is number 37, Brian Burkhead. Batting eighth and playing left field is number 25, Louis Mandil. And batting ninth is the shortstop, number 2, Nick Cipoletti. Now, Thomas Martin will get things started for the College of Staten Island as he looks at ball 1 and then promptly hits the very next pitch he sees sharply over to short, and playing it on a hop is Mucci, who throws out Martin for a quick out number 1. Taking a look at the spray chart for Martin on the season ahead of that at bat, he is certainly a pull hitter that favors the left side of the field, and he stayed true to that right there as he grounds out for the first out in the bottom half of the first. That will bring Shendi Ulaj to the plate. We've seen Ulaj typically hitting in the 5 and 6 spots for the Dolphins in many of the games we've covered here on Sportsnet this year. Will bat second today and is the Dolphins' second leading hitter as well at .320 behind Thomas Martin. And taking a look at the Dolphins' batting order, a lot of the Dolphins in the top half of the CSI lineup batting in the order in which they lead in batting average on this team. As that one is in for a called strike. And that one well out of the zone. Working quickly on the mound is Zimian early in this game. And the 3-2 pitch misses down and away for ball 4. So a very quick walk issued to Shendi Ulaj, and those 6 pitches went by very quickly as Zimian wasted no time out there on the mound. That will bring up Peter Lombardo. Well, I mentioned Thomas Martin, the Dolphins' leading hitter. He came in hitting at .347. Shendi Ulaj, who just walked, hitting at .320 on the season. And Peter Lombardo, the Dolphins' number 3 hitter, comes in hitting at .313 as he takes a called strike 1. Limited appearances for Lombardo this season. This start number 10. Appearance number 11. He is 10 of 32 at the dish so far in 2021. And he hits one on the ground toward the middle, making a sliding stop as Mucci flipped to second in time for 1. Great scoop over at first base by Critelli. And the Saints are able to turn a double play. They are pumped up as they head back toward the dugout, and the Dolphins are turned aside in their half of the first. Our score heading into the second inning, 2-0 in favor of D'Youville.
My dad was a soccer coach and bought this little book bag. I could sit in the book bag, like facing backwards and look like my legs out. So I'd be in his book bag when my dad coaches and the ball's going around. I'm like kicking at the ball in the back. And my dad was like, "We have a prodigy." So he put me into soccer and it just progressed from there. The catalyst was the opportunity to play soccer at a Division II school. On my team, I thrive to work as hard as I can. I mean, whatever you do on the field, there's a positive correlation to whatever else you do, be it personal relationships, homework, the way you carry yourself. I've changed since I got to King University. It's really helped me to develop as a leader. I think it's honestly the best thing that's ever happened.
And we are back here from the CSI Baseball Complex. Saints leading the Dolphins by a score of 2-0. And if you're D'Youville College, you could not have asked for a much better start to this game. 2 runs on 4 base hits in the top half of the first inning. And then the bottom half of the first comes to an end on a tremendous 6-4-3 double play, as facing the minimum was Alex Zimian in the bottom half of the first. And after a very tough top half of inning number 1, Nick Metzger returns to the mound, still trailing by 2 runs, as that one is bunted foul by Renato Quinones. Quinones comes in. Another Saints hitter who has really struggled at the plate so far this year, as that one is hit well, but foul into the D'Youville bullpen, and it's quickly 0-2 on Quinones. Quinones hitting at an even 200, which is good for 4th among qualifiers on the Saints ball club. As you saw during the pregame, and as I've mentioned once since, the Saints come in with a record of 2-19 in search of their first East Coast Conference victory of the season. And that one is swung on, and just getting a piece was Quinones, so he will stay alive. And Saints hope to pick up that first ECC victory this weekend. The Dolphins, of course, hoping to deny that. As that one is popped up behind the plate, Trancucci gives chase, and he makes the catch for out number 1. We've seen time and time again how tough those plays can be behind home plate. Well, I mentioned we don't have any spectators here at the College of Staten Island today, but some softball players have gathered. They were kind enough to bring me a sandwich up in the booth, so I certainly appreciate that, as that one is thrown on to first in time, and a nice scoop over there by Lombardo, as Trancucci pounced on that ball, and his throw in time to retire Matt Gunther for the second out. 2 away now in the Saints half of the second inning, and the number 9 hitter Nate Mucci will be the batter. Mucci comes in 3 of 48 on the season, and he looks at ball 1. And the 1-0 is taken up high for ball 2. Without runners on base, Metzger seems to be working a bit quicker out on the mound as well. Here comes his 2-0 pitch, and Mucci goes fishing for that one and comes up empty for strike 1. And 2-1 pitch is swung on and missed for strike 2. So Metzger 1 strike away from a very quick top half of the second inning. Here comes the 2-2, and that misses up and in. Count now full on Mucci, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Here comes the payoff pitch, and that's fouled away. I mentioned the issues the Dolphins have had with the base on balls so far in 2021. Metzger looking to avoid issuing his first free pass of the game and sending it back to the top of this D'Youville lineup. And that 3-2 pitch is swung on and missed. So Moochie goes down on strikes to bring the top half of the second inning to a close. Dolphins still trail by 2 when we come back.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor.
It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
And we're back here from the CSI Baseball Complex. Dolphins trailing by a score of 2-0 as we enter the bottom half of the second inning. Nick Metzger puts up a 0 in the top half of inning number 2 to keep his team within 2 runs. Once again, today's game is a single 9-inning affair between these two East Coast Conference ball clubs. A doubleheader upcoming tomorrow, scheduled to begin at 12 p.m. Game 1 scheduled for 9 innings, and Game 2 scheduled for 7. In the bottom half of the second inning for the Dolphins, it will be 4, 5, and 6. Santiago, Joyce, and Trancucci due up for the College of Staten Island in their half of inning number 2. And for Alex Zimian on the mound, it was a very strong top half, or I should say bottom half of inning number 1 after his team put him ahead by 2 in the top half. Zimian retired the Dolphins facing the minimum with some help from his defense as a great 6-4-3 double play brought the bottom half of the first inning to a very quick close after the Dolphins had gotten a 1-out walk from Shendi Ulaj. Angel Santiago, the batter for CSI, and has to dance out of the way of that pitch for ball 1. Santiago comes in hitting at .310 on the season. And he quickly finds himself ahead in the count, 2-0. Santiago, a hitter that uses all fields for CSI, and he goes the other way with that one, but it lands foul in the Dieuville bullpen. That runs the count to 2 balls and 1 strike. Santiago, 18 of 58 on the season with 9 runs batted in. However, of those 18 hits, only 1 has gone for extra bases. He's also walked 3 times. Here comes the 2-1, and that is fouled back. Alex Zimian with a halfway delivery out on the mound. Perhaps even fully sidearm as that one skips in the dirt for ball 3 and the count is now full. Payoff pitch upcoming from Zimian. And that is hit hard, and that one gets by Gunther over at third base. He had a shot at it, but a very difficult play. And that will be the Dolphins' first base hit of the game as Angel Santiago is on to lead off the bottom half of the second. That will bring Thomas Joyce to the plate. Left-handed hitter for this Dolphins team. We've seen him play some first base and some right field so far this season. He's also gotten some work on the mound. All while producing at the plate as he loses the bat, and that one sails into the netting above the visitors' dugout. Not many things we haven't seen so far this season, but that's one of them.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't seen something like that in a long time. That went on top of the dugout, and the netting that's protecting the soon-to-be fans kept it in the ballpark. If not, that would have been in the bench, into the bleachers, surely.
No doubt about it. As Joyce was a bit out in front of that first pitch, and it sent the bat flying as the 0-1 finds the outside corner for a called strike 2. In case you missed his introduction, that is our engineer today, Joe Masha. Also has a headset on to my right. Will be chiming in from time to time throughout our broadcast. Joe Foreman with you right now on the call for Dolphins and Saints. This game 1 of 3 between these two teams to be played over the next day. Doubleheader upcoming tomorrow. 1 ball and 2 strikes, the count on Thomas Joyce. Angel Santiago, the runner over at first, and they will check on Santiago, who slides back in safely. For Joyce on the season, he comes in hitting at .291, 16 of 55, 14 runs batted in, and he will go down on strikes right here for the first out of the inning, and that will bring up Sal Trancucci. For Joyce, that was strikeout number 16, which is now second on this Dolphins ball club. The man at the plate, Sal Trancucci, comes in hitting at .207. Has only struck out 4 times in 29 at-bats. Has 6 hits in those 29 plate appearances. And he looks at that first pitch outside for ball 1. Trancucci with 5 runs batted in and a pair of extra base hits. As he looks at ball 2. As I mentioned, he has 6 base hits, so a third of those of the extra base variety. Dolphins don't possess many stolen base threats on this team, and Santiago has not attempted one so far this season. Yet the Saints keeping a close eye on him over at first base. 2-0 pitch upcoming to Trancucci, and that one skips foul toward the Dolphins on deck circle. Two balls and 1 strike the count on Trancucci. And that is hit slowly over to short, handled by Mucci, who throws to second for 1, and nearly making another great play over at first to complete a double play was Critelli. He kept his foot anchored to the bag but couldn't hold on to the ball as that throw was well wide. And Critelli needed all 6'2" of that frame to get a glove on that ball, but it wasn't enough, and Trancucci reaches on the fielder's choice. That will bring up Brian Burkhead. Burkhead comes in hitting at .167, 3 of 18 on the season. And that one's hit slowly on the ground toward the right side. Quinones handles it and throws on to Critelli for the third out of the inning. Dolphins strand 1 and are turned aside yet again in the second. Our score remains 2-0 through 2 here on the ECC Network.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials. Live music. And the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dining order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
And we're back from the College of Staten Island through 2 innings of play. Dieuville leading Staten Island by a score of 2-0. The Dolphins do have a base hit in this game, so Joe will take care of that on the scoreboard for us. But
yes,
for the Saints, it is 2 runs on 4 base hits early on in this one. And a very strong first inning for Dieuville, played at a pair against Nick Metzger. The first 3 batters to face Metzger all reached via the single, and then he recorded a big out number 1 on a soft line drive right back to the mound. And coming through was Shane Critelli with a 2 RBI double to put the Saints in front, and that's where we stand right now with a score of 2-0 as the Saints return to the top of their batting order. And very quickly, Mateo Santos is retired on 1 pitch for the first out of the 3rd inning. That will bring up Jeremy Glinsky. Just like Santos before him, Glinsky coming into this at bat 1 for 1, as I mentioned. Saints opening up the game with 3 straight singles before a double ultimately plated a pair in the first. Glinski ahead in the count here, 1-0. And that one's hit through the left side and into left field for a base hit. So make it a 2 of 2 start on the afternoon for Glinski, who reaches with a 1-out single. And that will bring up Alex Zimian. Yet again, Zimian coming into this plate appearance 1 for 1. Also the pitcher. Right now the pitcher of record early in this game for the Saints, though a bit early to talk about that. He would have to make it through 5 to earn the victory, as they will check on Glinski over at first base. And there he goes, as Trancucci's throw to second, a strong one, but a better jump by Glinski from first base. He now has his 17th stolen base on 18 tries this season. And the 6'3" Glinski flying towards second base. And you don't expect someone of that stature often to be a prolific base stealer, but Glinski defies that preconceived notion right there, as he was in with plenty of time, and Trancucci has a very strong arm behind the plate as well, so certainly no easy task to swipe a bag on him. As the 2-0 pitch misses down for ball 3, so Alex Zimian ahead in the count here, 3-0, and if you take a look at our camera shot, you can see, the size of Glinski standing over there, taking his lead off second base, dwarfing Nick Cipoletti, the Dolphins shortstop, as the 3-0 pitch finds the outside corner for a called strike 1. Three balls and 1 strike, the count on Alex Zimian, as Metzger will step off. And the 3-1 pitch is taken for a called strike 2. It looked like Zimian might have been taking all of the way. We have yet another full count. The Dolphins have drawn the game's lone walk, and that payoff pitch is fouled back into the netting over CSI's dugout. Metzger looking to avoid walk number 1, looking to pick up strikeout number 2, as we have another 3-2 pitch upcoming. Runner goes for third. Trancucci's throw in with plenty of time, as that one did miss for ball 4, but that is a questionable decision there to try and swipe third by Glinski. I mentioned how successful he's been stealing bases so far this year, but a bit surprising to see him try it right there, and that's the second out of the inning. That will bring up Josh Battaglia. And the runner is going again as Battaglia hits one out to shallow left, forced to play it on a hop his man deal. Runner heading for third. Zimian slides in safely as the throw nearly skipped away. And on that throw, Battaglia will advance to second. Well, that one worked out pretty well for the Saints as the runner once again was going on the pitch. That allowed Zimian to go first to third. And the play over at third saw the ball trickle away towards the Dolphins' dugout. And Zimian, for a moment, may have had thoughts of trying to come home, but those thoughts quickly left him, as it will be Shane Critelli with another chance to plate a pair. His team already ahead by 2 with 6 base hits in the game. And that one's chopped on the ground over to third. That hop handled nicely by Santiago, whose throw is right on the money to retire Critelli for the final out of the inning. Saints strand a pair in their half of the third and lead by 2 heading into the bottom half of inning number 3. And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet. Dolphins trailing by a score of 2-0 heading into the bottom half of the third inning. 8, 9, and 1 due up for CSI. Mandiel, Cipoletti, and Martin for the College of Staten Island in the bottom half of the third. And if you're a fan of D'Youville, I said it after the start of this game, but you have to be very pleased with what you're seeing from your team right now. A team that has been starved for offense so far this season already has 2 runs and 6 base hits up on the scoreboard. Easily could have been a third run scored in that previous half inning had the runner trying to steal third, Jeremy Glinsky, not been caught trying to swipe third base on what ultimately was a base on balls drawn. And immediately following that walk, another base hit for the Saints, which would have scored Glinsky from second, undoubtedly put runners on second and third, but a big third out picked up by Nick Metzger of the Dolphins, who was able to retire Shane Critelli. Critelli did drive in the only 2 runs of the game scored thus far back in the first inning, and the Dolphins hope to get a bit closer in their half of the third with Louis Mandiel set to lead things off. For Mandiel on the season, comes in hitting at .211, but the number that really leaps off the stat sheet for Mandiel, he has a team-leading 28 strikeouts in 57 at-bats. That is nearly half of his plate appearances, ending with Mandiel being set down on strikes. As he chops the 0-1 pitch over to third, and the easy play made by Gunther, who throws out Mandiel for a quick out number 1. That will bring Nick Cipoletti to the plate. Cipoletti, the 9th-place hitter for the Dolphins. He comes in hitting at .244, 11 of 45 at the plate on the season. And Cipoletti looks at the first pitch he sees for ball 1. And fouls that one away, evening the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. A lot of our talk about Nick Cipoletti so far this season has been about both his prowess at the shortstop position and some of the miscues over at the shortstop position, as we've seen him make both some tremendous plays and some very costly errors for this Dolphins team. So far this season, also had a huge base hit in the CSI home opener that paved the way for that Dolphins victory. And right here, Cipoletti chases up high and will go down swinging for the second out. Back to the top of the order for CSI with Thomas Martin. Martin is 0 for 1, grounded out in his first at-bat of the game. And he looks at that pitch on the outside corner for a called strike 1. And Martin quickly behind 0-2 as he fouls that pitch back. Two-strike hole for Thomas Martin. 2 away in the Dolphins' half of the third. CSI still trailing by a pair. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. And that misses away for ball 1. That last pitch was number 34 for Alex Zimian. And number 35 misses down and in for ball 2. Entering the fourth, Nick Metzger's pitch count will be at 44. And after a very difficult first inning, Dolphins will certainly be okay with that. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and the base is empty as Martin chops one toward the middle and through for a base hit. And Martin taking the turn, heading for second, and well, I did not see that coming as Martin wisely takes the extra base as that one misplayed out in center field by Leem. Bit nonchalant with it, and Martin able to advance to second.
Yeah, that was definitely some heads-up base running by Martin there. It was definitely a good read to take second base on that, put a runner in scoring position.
Well, that's the one disadvantage of trying to score the game and call it at the same time. You look down for just a moment, And by the time you look up, a base runner is halfway between first and second. But Shendi Ulaj is retired very quickly on one pitch to bring the bottom half of the third inning to a close. That strands Martin in scoring position over at second. Dolphins leave one on in their half of the third and will trail 2-0 when we come back for the fourth.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can, and then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves, our vision, our heart, our drive, to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?
And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet. Saints leading the Dolphins by a score of 2-0. 6 base hits in the game for D'Youville. Now at the midway point of their second turn through the batting order against Nick Metzger. And the first pitch from Metzger in this fourth inning misses down and in for ball 1. Alex Leem is the batter. He's 0 for 1 in the game. Lined out in his first at bat. And he takes down and away for ball 2. That lineout was a costly one for the Saints as it resulted in a double play that brought the first inning to a close. And that 2-0 pitch finds the outside corner for a called strike 1. Dolphins nearly escaped that first inning with a double play, or at least quickened their escape from the first inning with a double play a bit sooner, but the play over at first on an underhand toss that saw Lombardo stumble back to the bag had him reach the base not in time to retire the runner scrambling back, and that afforded the Saints an extra chance, which Shane Critelli made the most of on a 2 RBI double. Count now 3 balls and 2 strikes on Alex Leem. And that one's hit well out to left field. Mandiel giving chase, and he will settle underneath it to make the catch for out number 1. Well, Metzger has done a good job in full counts, yet to issue a free pass, or I should say did issue a free pass, but I forgot about it because of the caught stealing over at third. So an out was recorded alongside that one walk. And for the Saints, that caught stealing did prove to be costly as it cost them a run and took one off the scoreboard for D'Youville in the third. They still lead by 2 as that one's chopped on the ground by Renato Quinones, and Quinones is thrown out by Shendi Ulaj for out number 2. Two away now in the Saints' half of the fourth. And that will bring up Matt Gunther. Gunther 0 for 1 with a ground out in his first at bat. Nick Metzger has recorded the first 2 outs on only 7 pitches, as that one is fouled back by Gunther. Metzger threw 27 in inning number 1, has thrown 25 since. That one number 26, as it's in the dirt for ball 1. Nate Mucci, the number 9 place hitter on deck for the Saints if Gunther can keep the inning going. And Gunther now finds himself ahead in the count, 2 balls and 1 strike. comes the 2-1 pitch from Metzger, and that's taken up high for ball 3. Definitely a noticeable difference in Metzger's work rate with the bases empty as opposed to when he had men on in the first. And his 3-1 pitch misses badly for ball 4. So Mucci will get a chance. And for the Saints, that will give them the opportunity to open the 5th at the top of their lineup if Mucci doesn't get on. Of course, they'd rather see this inning prolonged another batter and give Mateo Santos a chance from that leadoff spot. Mucci 0 for 1 in the game, struck out swinging in his first plate appearance. And he looks at that one low for ball 1. D'Youville's mascot, the Saints, but their logo is of I believe, a pit bull, and it sounds like they're making some pit bull noises from that visitor's dugout right now, trying to get in Metzger's head a bit. I think we had a correction of the mascot from my left as that one's chopped foul. Count 1 ball and 2 strikes on Nate Mucci. Yeah, that's certainly not a pit bull. As I remembered incorrectly, I had a roster in front of me with the logo on it. Either way, barking coming from the visitor's dugout as the count is 1-2 on Nate Mucci. And that one's chopped foul. So Mucci staying alive, looking to prolong this inning for the Saints, who already lead by 2 runs. Nick Metzger trying to get back into his dugout as that pickoff attempt nearly did the job, and just sliding back in safely was Gunther. Count remains 1-2. And that one sails up high, evening the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Earlier in the game, when Jeremy Glinsky stole second, I mentioned his numbers stealing bases. He was 16 of 17 coming in, now 1 for 2 in this game, making him 17 of 19. But overall for the Saints, they are 34 of 42 entering play today, stealing bases, as this might be a chance for Lombardo to end the inning, but he can't get there, as there was no shot for the Dolphins' first baseman on that one, as that ball kept carrying out towards the Saints' bullpen. Wind was swirling earlier, but the flag tame right now out in left field. Though the wind is blowing the direction that ball was hit, out towards right field. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runner on first for D'Youville. And that one is popped up foul once again. Over the heads of the CSI softball team. Socially distanced and gathered in the bleachers, fresh off of a practice earlier today. They return to action on Sunday against St. Thomas Aquinas here at the CSI softball complex, right down the hill from us here at baseball. Mucci continues to fight off pitches foul. The next pitch will be number 7 of the at-bat. Wind picking up right now as the 2-2 pitch is down and away for ball 3. Metzger loses the cap once again, and Gunther will get a head start over at first now with the full count and 2 away. Base hit here could very easily plate a run with Gunther taking off on the pitch. And that one is hit into shallow left center. It falls for a base hit, and it skips by Burkhead out towards deep center field. That will allow Gunther to score easily, and into second is Mucci. And if that did not come over the mic, the official scoring is a single, an error on Burkhead, and a run scored for the Saints, who now lead 3-0. Tough break there for the Dolphins, as Burkhead really didn't do anything wrong on that play. Didn't charge too hard, but that ball took an awkward hop off the outfield grass, perhaps assisted by the wind a bit, which was blowing left to right. And that one kind of screwballed right by him. Tough break for the Dolphins, as they would have had at least one more chance to pick up the third out had that ball not gotten by Burkhead. But as it stands, 3-0 to Uville, and Mateo Santos, the batter, he's behind in the count 0-1. And a nice block there by Trancucci, as that one was down in the dirt, evening the count at 1-1 strike.
Hey Nick, they have 7 hits, okay?
Yeah. 1-1 strike, the count on Santos. And Metzger's pitch is taken down low for ball 2. No RBI on that for Mucci as well, with the run coming in on the error. If Metzger can retire Santos here, that run would go down as unearned. 2-2 the count on the Saints leadoff hitter. And Metzger's breaking ball finds the outside corner for a called strike 3. But for the Saints, they do strand a runner in scoring position and add one more, as they now lead Staten Island by a score of 3-0 heading into the bottom half of the 4th inning.
Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends. Live sports and watch parties. To Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
And we are back here on CSI Sportsnet. Dolphins now trailing by a score of 3-0, and a very tough luck unearned run coming in against the College of Staten Island in the top half of this 4th inning. But returning to the mound for the Saints, looking to maintain a 3-run lead for D'Youville, is Alex Zimian, who, to his credit, has pitched very well in this game so far. And he deserves a lot of the credit for the Saints being in front, as well as the Saints offense, which has put now 3 runs up on the scoreboard. And for the Saints, 3-run games have been tough to come by this season, as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast. But for the Dolphins, they are a team that is accustomed to putting runs up on the scoreboard as well, and it is certainly far too early to rule Staten Island out of this one, as we still have another 5.5 innings to go. Peter Lombardo leading things off for CSI in the bottom of the 4th, looks at ball 1 and quickly takes ball 2. Lombardo 0 for 1, grounded out in his first plate appearance. And the 2-0 pitch is lofted over the head of the shortstop Mucci and into shallow left center for a leadoff base hit. As looks like Leem and Battaglia had a bit of an issue with that one, and that outfield grass playing tricks on both teams now over the last couple of batters. That will bring Angel Santiago to the plate. Santiago 1 for 1. He singled to left in his first plate appearance and takes ball 1. And this is second at bat. Want to know the count? And the pitch to Santiago is fouled back and into the seats. For the Dolphins, they have the leadoff man on for the second time in this game. Santiago reached to lead off the second. was ultimately erased on a fielder's choice. And that's taken down and in for ball 2. Thomas Martin, the only Dolphins runner to get into scoring position in this game. That was in the previous inning, where a lackadaisical play in center field allowed him to take an extra base on what appeared to be a single. Weakly grounded up the middle, but the Saints didn't play the ball with enough urgency out in center field and allowed Martin to advance to second.
Not sure what's going on here, Joe.
You know, we've seen this once before where they ask the ball chasers seated behind home plate to move. And once again, that is the case here, as 2 Dolphins pitchers are seated right behind home plate, and clearly the Saints objected to that. Strategically, I guess you could see why, but you know, I doubt anybody is looking to steal signs from there. As that ball just kept carrying and carrying out toward right field. I'm not sure Lombardo expected that one to fall. It lands on the warning track, and Lombardo will hold it third as Angel Santiago picks up the double. The Dolphins now have 2 in scoring position with nobody out, and Thomas Joyce coming to the plate.
Yeah, that ball just kept carrying. You know, the wind's blowing out now, and, you know, the outfielder just really couldn't get to it. It just kept going and going.
You know, Joe, off the bat, I thought for sure routine F9.
Oh, absolutely.
And the way that the right fielder was settling underneath that ball, you know, Santos appeared to believe he had a routine play. And then you saw his back turn to us here in the booth, and you realized that ball is carrying all the way out toward the wall. He has no play, but if he was chasing that ball with everything he had off the bat, I think he makes the catch.
I think so, too.
Would have been a tough play, but definitely one that was makeable. So Thomas Joyce is the batter, and with 2 in scoring position, Joyce quickly behind in the count, 0-2. Joyce 0 for 1, struck out swinging in his first at bat. He is among the Dolphins' leaders in RBIs. He's actually the team leader in that category. Has a chance to add at least 1 more to his 14 RBI total, maybe 2. And the 0-2 pitch is chopped on the ground to first, nearly handcuffed Critelli, but able to make the play is the Saints' first baseman, and coming home to score is Peter Lombardo with the first Dolphins run of the game. So CSI is on the scoreboard for the first time. Santiago did advance to third, and that had the effect of a bunt, really, as it was hit just softly enough to allow the run to come in to score, while also allowing Santiago to advance to third. And with that ball being on the right side, there's no way the Saints would have had any thought of throwing over to third base anyway, as Sal Trancucci ducks out of the way of the first pitch he sees for ball 1. And that one is hit into shallow right. Santos settles underneath it, makes the catch, and double clutches. He clearly knew that he had no play at the plate, and Santiago comes in to score the second Dolphins run. As the way Santos settled underneath that ball and looked like he was going to attempt to get a running start on a throw, I thought we might have at least a strong throw to the plate, but instead the throw is cut off, and Dolphins now trail by just a run. That will bring up Brian Burkhead, and Burkhead looks at ball 1. And Burkhead is quickly ahead in the count, 2-0. So Simeon continues to work very quickly out on the hill. Has wasted no time in between pitchers, as though we might have had the wave breaking out among CSI softball in the stands. As Burkhead takes a look at strike 1. And Burkhead hits one out toward left center field, falling fast and off the glove of Battaglia. Battaglia overran that ball just a bit, and when he dove for it, he ended up right on top of that ball, and It hit off of his glove. Nearly a great play by the Saints left fielder. We'll see if that is credited as a double or an error. I think it has to be a double.
Hit.
And that is indeed a hit as we get confirmation from our official statistician, David Pizzuto, to my left, our engineer, Joe Masha, to my right. This is Joe Foreman on the call, bringing you CSI Dolphins baseball here on CSI Sportsnet, a proud part of the ECC network. So the Dolphins now have the tying runner in scoring position. And Louis Mandiel will be the batter. Mandiel with a chance to get CSI even. Grounded out to third in his first at bat. Fouls off the first pitch he sees right here for strike one. I mentioned Mandiel struggling a bit coming in, especially when it comes to the strikeouts. He's been retired on strikes and just shy of half his plate appearances, but could make up for quite a few of those right here with a game-tying 2-out base knock. Mandiel behind in the count, 0-2. Burkhead, the runner on second, should score on any base hit. And the two-strike pitch is hit sharply to short. Burkhead dances out of the way. Great job to maintain his focus by Mucci, and another great scoop at first by Critelli to complete the 6-3 putout and retire the side. But not before the Dolphins get two. They are now back within a run. Our score, 3-2, heading into the fifth.
For me, just kind of was the glue that kept my family together, I feel like. I don't know what it was that drew me in, but after I started playing for a while and started seeing some early success as a little kid, to see how much it meant to my parents to see me play the game and try to make a difference was really what fueled me to keep playing and stay competitive. Being a triple major is not necessarily easy, but at the same time it is what you make it. Being a tighter-knit university, I have a lot of classes with the same professors, so they know me pretty well. I think it's that personal relationship that really helped me to thrive as a student. I was able to come here and get my triple major, as well as play a super high level of baseball against some of the best players in the country. There's a lot of options here in Division II with a lot of great ball players and a lot of great people, and they make sure that they give you every opportunity to succeed on and off the field.
And we are back here on CSI Sportsnet. Top half of the fifth inning about to get underway, and the College of Staten Island is back to within a run as CSI plates a pair in the bottom of the fourth. Our score now 3-2 in favor of the Saints, and for Dieuville, it will be 2, 3, and 4 due up in the top half of inning number 5. I've mentioned the good day the Saints have had at the plate so far, but defensively, they've saved at least a run or two out in the field as the first pitch of the fifth inning is skied out to center field by Jeremy Glinsky, and Burkhead makes the catch for out number 1. But as I was saying, the defense for Dieuville in this game has been strong, and we saw a very nice double play early in this game, and great job by Mucci over at short to keep his focus, with Burkhead passing by in front of him on that last putout in the fourth, and then by Critelli over at first to scoop the ball out of the dirt. Very nicely done on both ends of that play as Alex Zimian looks at a call at strike one, evening up the count at 1-1 strike. Zimian 1 for 1, has singled and walked in the game. And that one's hit out toward right center. Looks like another chance for Burkhead, who calls off Joyce and makes the catch for out number 2. So 2 very quick outs for Nick Metzger, opening up the fifth. His pitch count now at approximately 73, as Josh Battaglia will be the batter. Battaglia 1 for 2, has flown out and singled. And that one skips in the dirt for ball 1. Comes the 1-0. And that's chopped toward the middle and through for a 2-out single. That's Battaglia's second base hit of the game. And that will give Shane Critelli yet another chance with a runner on base. I mentioned Critelli's big double more than once already in this game. Another extra base hit here could plate a run. Critelli also had a chance for the pair on in his last at bat, but grounded out as he looks at a called strike 1. For the Saints in this game, both Jeremy Glinsky and Battaglia with a pair of base hits. Santos, Zimian, Critelli, and Mucci accounting for the other 4 hits. Count still 0-1 after an attempted pickoff to first, and Metzger will make it 2 right there. And Battaglia able to slide back in with plenty of time. For the Dolphins, who have 5 hits, it's Santiago with 2, Lombardo, Martin, and Burkhead each with 1. As that 0-1 pitch to Critelli is downstairs. Count 1 ball and 1 strike. This game moving right along here in the top half of the 5th inning, only 1 hour and 7 minutes in here at the CSI Baseball Complex as Critelli took a big swing at that 1-1 pitch and came up empty for strike 2. Metzger looking over towards first again. Nice size lead for Battaglia, who is running. And I think Critelli just got a piece. And he did, so he stays alive. The count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes, and Battaglia will have to head back. If Critelli doesn't chase that pitch, Battaglia is standing on second base right now. That one was down in the dirt. Here comes another 1-2 pitch. And that is on the outside corner for a called strike 3. Critelli didn't like it. But with that strikeout, Metzger strands 1 on base. Base hit in the inning for the Saints, but that's all. They still lead 3-2.
Wayne State Medical School has been my dream medical school since I was 5. Athletics are important, but so is service, so is research, so is becoming a better person. And we expect you to do well athletically, but don't forget the reason you're here, which is to give back to your community and to get good grades. It was my sophomore indoor season. It was the first year with our new head coach. And he comes in and he's like, we could be a national contending team if you guys work hard. And I heard him and I was like, well, I want to be a national champion. I want to be an All-American. And I bought in because he bought into our team. And I qualified to go to indoor nationals. I decided I wanted it, so I went and grabbed it.
And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet. Dolphins trailing the Saints by a score of 3-2, entering the bottom half of inning number 5. For CSI, it will be 9-1-2. Cipoletti, Martin, and Ulaj due up in the home half of the 5th. As I mentioned during the previous half inning, and as you can see on your screen, 5 hits in the game for the College of Staten Island. But once again, that one error looming large as it resulted in an unearned run that right now is the difference in the game. That being said, the error made was really no fault of the center fielder, Brian Burkhead. A just incredibly tough hop he had to contend with out in center field on what was a single that turned into a single with an extra base afforded to the batter, and then the runner who was standing at third was allowed to score once the ball got by Burkhead. And right now, that's the difference in the game, as Nick Cipoletti Fouls that pitch straight back. Count even at 1-1 on Cipoletti, who hits one out toward the right field line, and it falls in the corner for an extra base hit. As that one will roll all the way to the wall, Cipoletti takes the turn. He heads for third, and he is in standing with a leadoff triple. Nick Cipoletti really got a hold of that pitch, driving it the other way. It's not often you see a ball hit that well to the opposite field, but twice today, Dolphins have put the ball in that right field corner. Perhaps the wind playing a bit of a role in that, as we saw Santiago hit one out to right that just kept carrying and landed just shy of the warning track. And in a very similar fashion, that ball landed just shy of the warning track out there in the right field corner. RBI opportunity for Thomas Martin, as that is a fair ball down the left field line and into the Dolphins bullpen. Martin into second base with an RBI double. And Thomas Martin jumps right on the first pitch he sees and ties this game with an RBI base hit, scoring Cipoletti from third. So the Dolphins wasting no time getting even in the fifth. Cipoletti saw 3 pitches doubled into the right field corner. Martin offers at the first pitch he sees and chases home Cipoletti for the third Dolphins run. Shendi Ulaj will attempt the bunt, and that is bunted foul. And I see your reaction, Joe. You know, I'm not a fan of the bunting either, personally. Yeah. I'm not a fan of it. Don't like it, especially with your number 2 hitter who's hitting well over 300. I just don't like the bunting, and that's
certain situation, Jasper. Right now, you got no men on, no outs, and he's hitting good right now. I don't know why he would try to lay down a bunt there.
For me, it's not as much of a strategic criticism as it is a fan of the game critique. Just you want to see your best hitters hit as a fan of either team in this game. And I think the bunting certainly takes away from the entertainment aspect. In many cases, strategically, it seems to fail.
Yes.
As instead, you find the hitter in a 2-strike count, and now you put, in some cases, your 2, 3, 4, 5 hitters in a 2-strike hole that they have to climb out of, and it makes it that much more difficult, as Ulaj was granted time with the wind picking up and kicking up chalk and dirt around home plate. Fortunately for him, because that would have been strike 3.
Yes.
But either way, whether it be baseball or softball, not a fan of the bunting. 1-1 the count on Ulaj, and he hits one out into shallow right field, and that one not so shallow as it rolls all the way out toward the warning track, and that's back-to-back doubles for the Dolphins. 3 straight extra base hits for CSI. A Cipoletti triple, a Martin double, and an Ulaj double have given the Dolphins a 4-3 lead.
And that's why you don't take the bat out of someone batting .320 coming in today's game. You know, you're definitely going to see a big hit out of him, especially the pitch is wearing down now. And, you know, as you said, bunting, you know, is not your favorite. It's not really mine either, but certain situations you do it. But I don't agree with it with a man on second with no outs and, you know, the pitcher's wearing down.
Well, for once, Joe, I think I've been vindicated when providing my strategic input. As usually, it doesn't reflect well on me, but I think in that situation, we're looking pretty good up here in the booth right now. And it's always nice to be able to Monday morning quarterback it a little bit. On this day 2 of the NFL draft as well. The NFL draft getting started last night. This day 1 of a 2-day, 3-game set between these two teams. As today will feature a single 9-inning affair. Tomorrow, a doubleheader with a 9-inning game 1 and a 7-inning game 2. Following a conference at the mound for the Saints, we are set to resume action. Peter Lombardo will be the batter. Lombardo now looking to extend CSI's lead. And he looks at ball 1. The Dolphins' first baseman, 1 of 2 in the game, has grounded out and singled in 2 plate appearances. Comes the 1-0, and we'll have to wait a few more moments for that as Simeon steps off, and The wind begins to pick up. We'll see if perhaps Lombardo calls time. He will not. And that sails upstairs for ball 2. Two and 0 the count. And that one is chopped foul. I'm not sure if we have a viewer in Nick Durst who is contacting me to let me know the rain is on the way, or if he was looking at the sky an inning or two back, because the sky had gotten darker an inning or two ago, but right now we are playing in perfect weather. But I've been told rain is on the way from Nick Durst, so I'll have to get some clarification during the break as that 2-1 pitch finds the outside corner for a called strike 2. Well, if that's precipitation, Joe.
About an hour showing rain comes in, but you never know.
Well, Joe, I think for the rest of the game you're on weather duty as we have yet another Dolphins extra base hit. This time it's Peter Lombardo chasing home a run with the third consecutive RBI double for the College of Staten Island as the Dolphins bats have awoken here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. They now lead by 2 and have scored 3 runs against Alex Simeon, who appeared to be relatively in command up until this point, but things have really gotten away from him here in inning number 5. And this now the third turn through the lineup for CSI. It looks like they may have figured out the Saints starter on the hill, and they are getting some great swings against Simeon in this half inning. So Lombardo trades places with Ulaj on second. Ulaj traded places with Martin. Martin chased home Cipoletti. And that's how we find ourselves now with the Dolphins leading by 3, or I should say 2, as that one is hit out toward right and off the glove of Santos. He settled underneath it and was waiting for it, and it appeared as if he came to a rest about a step or two too far in. And he had to reach up, nearly snow cone that ball. Instead, it hits off the glove, and that is an E9 for the Saints. And we do have action in the bullpen for D'Youville, but no pitching change upcoming here. So Simeon remains in the game. Thomas Joyce now with a chance to give CSI a 4-run lead. And Joyce looks at a called strike 1.
That's okay. That's okay.
And that 0-1 pitch is off the outside corner, which evens up the count at 1. Here comes the 1-1 pitch to Joyce, and that's off the outside corner for ball 2. Joyce drove in a run in his last at bat, has a chance to add another RBI and maybe 2 here, as he looks to tack 1 or 2 more on to his team leading total in that category. And the count evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes with that fastball on the outside corner. Two and 2 pitch, and that is swung on and missed by Joyce for strike 3. So Joyce is set down on strikes for the second time in this game, and that will bring up Sal Trancucci. Trancucci 0 for 1 in the game. Did drive in a run with a sacrifice fly during the previous inning. And Trancucci looks at a called strike 1. Big at bat here for the Dolphins At the very least, they would like to chase home one more, and that will absolutely get the job done as that is hit well out to straightaway center field, and that one lands on the warning track, one hop shy of the wall. Trancucci will clear the bases with a 2 RBI double, and the Dolphins have extended their lead to 4. Our score is now 7-3 Staten Island. CSI has been all over Alex Simeon in this half inning, and that will be the end of the line for the Saints starting pitcher as Kyle McLean comes out of the Dieuville dugout and will take the ball from Simeon, who will head back into the Saints dugout, still responsible for the runner on second. The new pitcher coming out of the bullpen will be Jared Gloniak, and after this break, I'll give you the numbers on Gloniak. Pitching change for Dieuville College here in the bottom half of the fifth. Dolphins now lead 7-3.
My dad was a soccer coach and bought this little book bag. I could sit in the book bag like facing backwards and look like my legs out. So I'd be in his book bag when my dad coaches and the ball's going around. I'm like kicking at the ball in the back and my dad was like, "We have a prodigy." So he put me into soccer and it just progressed from there. The catalyst was the opportunity to play soccer at a Division II school. On my team, I thrive to work as hard as I can. I mean, whatever you do on the field, there's a positive correlation to whatever else you do, be it personal relationships, homework, the way you carry yourself. I've changed since I got to King University. It's really helped me to develop as a leader. I think it's honestly the best thing that's ever happened.
We are back here on CSI Sportsnet, and for the Dolphins in the bottom half of the fifth, an offensive explosion as they have put 5 runs up on the scoreboard, still only 1 away, and another man stands in scoring position. That is Sal Trancucci over at second base. In case you're just joining us, to get this inning started, Nick Cipoletti tripled down into the right field corner. That was followed by 3 consecutive doubles, first by Thomas Martin, then by Shendi Ulaj, and finally Peter Lombardo. Angel Santiago then reached on an error. That error advanced Lombardo to third and allowed Santiago to reach second. Thomas Joyce then struck out before Sal Trancucci chased Alex Simeon, the starter for the Saints, with a 2 RBI double to put the Dolphins up by 4 runs. CSI has scored 5 in the inning, and it will be up to Jared Gloniak to stop the bleeding for Dieuville as he takes the mound in place of Alex Simeon. For Gloniak on the season, he has appeared now in 12 games so far. So this is actually number 13 for Gloniak, and in 15 2/3, he's allowed 29 hits, 32 runs, 22 of those earned. He has walked 16 and struck out 12 and pitched to an ERA of 12.64. I mentioned the Dolphins' bats waking up and coming to life here in the fifth. So has the CSI softball team in the stands as they got the wave started during the break and have been very vocal in support of their fellow Dolphin student athletes so far on this day. 1-0 pitch to Brian Burkhead is popped up and making the basket catch behind the plate was Glinski. Not an easy play. And that's a big second out for the Saints. That will bring up Louis Mandiel. Mandiel on the day is 0 for 2 with a couple of ground outs. And few Dolphins could use an RBI base hit right now more than him, as he swings and misses through the first pitch he sees for strike 1. Here comes the 0-1 pitch to Mandiel. And that's hit hard down the line and into left field, all the way into the corner for another Dolphins extra base hit. Mandiel will take the turn at second, but will stop there. And it is an RBI double for Louis Mandiel. The fourth RBI extra base hit of the inning for the Dolphins. Make it the fifth as CSI now leads 8-3. What an inning for the College of Staten Island. So far, it's not over yet, as that extra base hit makes it 5 in the inning for CSI. And Nick Cipoletti, who got all of this started, swings through that pitch for strike one. Cipoletti took a home run cut right there. And that one is fouled away, so it's a quick 2-strike hole for Nick Cipoletti. Cipoletti got it started with a triple. Martin, Ulaj, and Lombardo all doubled. Santiago reached on a 2-base error. Trancucci drove both Santiago and Lombardo home with a double. And then Mandiel chasing Trancucci home with a double of his own right there as Cipoletti goes down swinging for the third out of the inning, but a big fifth inning for the College of Staten Island. They score 6 and now lead by 5. Our score 8-3 heading into the 6th.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can, and then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves, our vision, our heart, our drive, to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?
We're on.
And we are back here from the CSI Baseball Complex. The College of Staten Island entered the bottom half of the 5th, trailing 3-2. They enter the top half of the 6th, leading by 5. Our score now 8-3 in favor of CSI. For D'Youville, it will be 6, 7, and 8. Leem, Quinones, and Gunther due up against Nick Metzger, who returns to the mound with a 5-run lead. No action in the Dolphins' bullpen, so we'll see how long Metzger is able to prolong this outing as his 0-1 pitch to Leem is skied out to center, and Alex Leem is retired quickly for the first out of the 6th inning. That will bring up Renato Quinones. Quinones 0 for 2. He's flown out and grounded out thus far. And the first pitch he sees is fouled straight back off of the backstop, and Mike Morrow will retrieve that one. Comes the 0-1. That skips in, evening up the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Quinones, one of a couple of left-handed bats in the Saints lineup. And he looks at ball 2. Here comes the 2-1 pitch. That's chopped on the ground over to first. Lombardo will wait for it and then flip over to Metzger. And I'm not sure why Lombardo flipped that ball to Metzger. I thought he had a much easier play taking it to the bag himself. And that really put Metzger in danger as He and the runner, Quinones, were on a collision course over at first base. And fortunately for the Dolphins, Metzger and Quinones stayed clear of one another. But it's a one-out base hit for the Saints. And that will bring up Matt Gunther. So a very unorthodox one-out single for the Saints turns into a runner in scoring position as that one gets by Trancucci. And Quinones stands over at second. Get the official scoring. Wild pitch or pass ball. That is a wild pitch as it skipped in the dirt. Got by Trancucci. Here comes the 1-0 to Gunther. And that misses for ball 2. For Metzger in the game, that is his first wild pitch. He's issued a pair of walks and is behind Gunther here, 3-0. And we do have action down in the Dolphins bullpen, thanks to my engineer and broadcast partner Joe Masha for pointing that out. I would use the binoculars for the first time today, but I don't need them, as I'm able to read that is number 22, Stephen Kalika. Dave is confirming with his own pair of binoculars. We are well equipped up here in the commentary booth. For the first time this season, commentary sharing a room with stats, as that swung on and missed to run the count full on Gunther. Payoff pitch upcoming from Nick Metzger. And the 3-2 pitch is down and inside for ball 4. That's walk number 3 for Metzger. And Nate Mucci will come to the plate with 2 on and 1 out. Mucci 1 for 2, has struck out and singled. Steep climb back will be necessary for the Saints if they want to get back in this game, and that won't help their cause right there, as very nicely done over at third by Santiago. He steps on the bag to record the force and then throws on to first in time for an unconventional 5-5-3 double play. That brings the top half of the 6th inning to a close. Saints strand a pair. They do not score. Heading into the bottom half of inning number 6, our score 8-3, Staten Island.
Wayne State Medical School has been my dream medical school since I was 5. Athletics are important, but so is service, so is research, so is becoming a better person. And we expect you to do well athletically, but don't forget the reason you're here, which is to give back to your community and to get good grades. It was my sophomore indoor season. It was the first year with our new head coach. And he comes in and he's like, we could be a national contending team if you guys work hard. And I heard him and I was like, well, I want to be a national champion. I want to be an All-American. And I bought in because he bought into our team. And I qualified to go to indoor nationals. I decided I wanted it, so I went and grabbed it.
And we are back here on CSI Sportsnet. Dolphins lead the Saints by a score of 8-3. Top of the order due up for the College of Staten Island. Thomas Martin, Shendi Ulaj, and Peter Lombardo coming to the plate for CSI in the bottom half of the 6th. The Dolphins have plated runs in each of the last 2 innings, 2 in the 4th and 6 in the 5th. That 5th inning, one of the more prolific innings we have covered here on Sportsnet this season, as the Dolphins turn what was a 3-0 deficit now into an 8-3 lead. And Thomas Martin opens the bottom of the 6th by looking at ball 1 down in the dirt. Martin is 2 for 3, has grounded out and doubled twice. The first of those 2 doubles, a hustle double, as he looks at strike 1 right there. The second double, an RBI double that chased home Nick Cipoletti from third. Martin ultimately came around to score himself on a Shendi Ulaj double. As that's grounded toward the hole. Nice backhand stop by Mucci. The stretch at first by Critelli, and Martin is retired. That is the second or third time today that Mucci and Critelli have connected on a tremendous play. And off the bat, that appeared destined for left field through the hole on the left side. But a nice backhanded stop by Mucci, whose throw was in time as Critelli made both a stretch and a scoop over at first base to retire Martin for out number one. Shendi Ulaj is the batter, and he looks at a called strike one. Ulaj 1 for 2. As I mentioned, doubled in his last at bat. Has also walked and grounded out as he hits one out to left center field, and ranging to his left to make the catch is Battaglia for out number 2. Two quick outs for the Dolphins in their half of the sixth, and Peter Lombardo will be the batter. Lombardo 2 for 3. Has singled, doubled, and grounded out. And he looks at the first pitch he sees upstairs for ball one. And the 1-0 pitch finds the outside corner for a strike. Good breaking ball there from Gloniak. And the 1-1 pitch finds the zone for strike two. So Gloniak, one strike away from a 1-2-3 sixth inning. And his 1-2 pitch just missed as he had at least 1 foot back in the dugout already. Gloniak was prepared to leave the mound, but he will need to throw at least one more. And the 2-2 pitch is fouled away. And whoever that is that parked in that first row narrowly avoided a cracked windshield right there. That is an amateur park for sure. Can't be parking that close to the bleachers here at the CSI Baseball Complex. We know that's not one of our staffers. They all know better. As that is hit out towards shallow right center, and coming on to make the catch is Santos for the third out of the inning. So it's a 1-2-3, bottom of the sixth for Jared Gloniak on the mound, and his team will come to bat in the seventh, trailing 8-3.
My dad was a soccer coach and bought this little book bag. I could sit in the book bag like facing backwards and look like my legs out. So I'd be in his book bag when my dad coaches and the ball's going around. I'm like kicking at the ball in the back. And my dad was like, "We have a prodigy." So he put me into soccer and it just progressed from there. The catalyst was the opportunity to play soccer at a Division II school. On my team, I thrive to work as hard as I can. I mean, whatever you do on the field, there's a positive correlation to whatever else you do, be it personal relationships, homework, the way you carry yourself. I've changed since I got to King University. It's really helped me to develop as a leader. I think it's honestly the best thing that's ever happened.
And we're back here on the ECC Network. Dolphins leading the Saints by a score of 8-3, and a much-needed 1-2-3 inning on the mound for Jared Gloniak of Dieuville in the bottom half of the sixth as he sends his team right back to the plate, trailing by 5 runs, and the top of the order due up, Santos, Galinsky, and Zimian. Alex Zimian, the starting pitcher, was also the designated hitter for the Saints, so he remains in the game as a hitter, batting out of the number 3 spot in the Dieuville batting order. It's also back to the mound for Nick Metzger, who has thrown about 92 pitches in this game. That's an approximate total, as I have a different pitch count than the official statistician, who is now about 10 pitches ahead of me, so 102 for Metzger. That's what happens when you fall behind a play or two, you miss some pitches, and That one is lined into shallow left, and once again, Mandiel forced to play it on a hop, as losing his hat in center field was Burkhead, and perhaps the wind knocked that ball down as well. So it's a leadoff base hit for Mateo Santos, and that is all for Nick Metzger. So on pitch number 103, Metzger surrenders a leadoff single and will return back to the dugout. On the long side, he would be the winner if CSI could hold on. When we come back from this break, Stephen Kalika takes the mound for the College of Staten Island, his team leading 8-3. And we are back here on CSI Sportsnet. Stephen Kalika takes the mound for the College of Staten Island in relief of Nick Metzger. And the unofficial final line on Metzger, who threw 103 pitches in the game. He allows 3 runs, 2 of those earned. He struck out 3, walked, I believe, 3 as well, yes, and has allowed 10 base hits in the game. The book is not closed on Metzger, with that runner on first base being his responsibility. If CSI holds on, he would win. He cannot lose as he looks for his second victory of the 2021 season. The new Dolphins pitcher, Stephen Kalika, takes the mound. Haven't gotten a lot of work so far for CSI this season. He has appeared in 7 games already. This is appearance number 8. That leads the CSI ball club. He has thrown 16 innings, allowed 16 hits and 13 runs, 12 of those earned. He has walked 11 and struck out 13. Opponents hitting at .267 against him. He has a whip of 1.69 and an ERA of 6.75. And for Kalika, he has been one of the more consistent arms for the Dolphins so far this year, though once again walks a bit of an issue for him. 11 across 16 innings, as I just mentioned, though that number pales in comparison to some of his teammates who have really struggled with the base on balls this year. But for Kalika, he hopes to keep his team comfortably ahead in this game. CSI leading by 5 in the top half of the 7th inning. Jeremy Glinsky is the first man that Kalika will face, and Glinsky looks at ball 1. Glinsky singled in each of his first 2 at-bats, flew out his last time up. And the 1-0 pitch misses down and in for ball 2. Two balls and no strikes, the count on Glinsky. We'll see if he has the green light on anything close. He does, and he hits the ball well out to center, but he just got under it. And Burkhead is there to make the catch. And you could see Glinsky slam down the bat in frustration. He knows that he got his pitch there on 2-0 and just missed it. That will bring up Alex Zimian. Zimian, the starting pitcher for the Saints, was removed in the 5th inning in favor of Jared Gloniak. Right now, he is on the short end of this result, responsible for all 8 runs that scored. He's 1 for 2 at the plate in this game. Singled, walked, and flew out.
Yeah.
1 ball, 1 strike. The count on Zimian, 1 away in the Saints' half of the 7th. And there's a good breaking ball from Kalika. He had Zimian completely fooled. And the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. The 1-2 pitch is hit softly on the ground to first. Lombardo's throw dropped by Cipoletti on the hop. And that is certainly an E3 on Lombardo, as that was a very poor throw to second base. And Another questionable decision by Lombardo. He had a sure out at first, but wanted to turn 2.
That's an error for home.
And made the throw to second instead. Dolphins certainly had a chance to turn 2 on a good throw, but instead they get none. And that will bring up Josh Battaglia. And Battaglia offers it the first pitch he sees and hits it out toward right center field. Another chance for Burkhead, who makes the catch, and there are 2 away. So Battaglia goes down on 1 pitch, and once again it is Shane Critelli coming up with 2 men on. First at bat came to the plate with 2 on. Second at bat came to the plate with 2 on. Third at bat came to the plate with 1 on base, and fortunately our camera angle just cut off the cloud of dust that just engulfed shallow center field, but that resulted in time being called, and both Kalika and Critelli are ready. And the first pitch to Critelli is on the inside corner for a called strike 1. Here comes the 0-1 from the left-handed Kalika. And that one misses to even up the count at 1. One ball, 1 strike, 2 outs, and 2 on for the Saints in the top half of the 7th. They could really use an RBI base hit right here. And that one is sliced foul. Count now 1 ball and 2 strikes. One ball and 2 strikes the count on Critelli, and he hits one out towards center field. Another chance for Burkhead, who settles underneath it and makes the catch for the 3rd out of the inning. So it's 3 putouts for Brian Burkhead in center field in the top half of the 7th. Saints strand a pair, and they trail the Dolphins 8-3 heading into the bottom half of the 7th.
Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends. Live sports and watch parties. To Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet. Dolphins leading Dieuville by a score of 8-3. And the bats for the Saints have been relatively silent since the first inning. The Dolphins have really done a good job limiting the Saints since then. They have scattered 6 hits across the next 6 innings. But for CSI, they really came alive in the 4th with a pair and then exploded for 6 more in the 5th. They lead 8-3. For CSI, in the bottom half of the 7th, 4, 5, and 6, Santiago Joyce and Trancucci do up as Jared Gloniak returns to the mound for Dieuville. Gloniak with a 1-2-3 6th inning. Also closed the door on the 5th inning with a strikeout of Nick Cipoletti, limiting the damage to 6, but those 6 runs right now have put the Dolphins in front by 5, with the meat of the batting order coming up here in the 7th and a chance for more. Count 1-0 on Angel Santiago, and he may have taken that off the hand or wrist. He sure did, as he will be awarded first base, and I'm not sure the umpire has awarded him first base. Maybe it hit the bat as well, and they're appealing over to the first base umpire. And the home plate umpire certainly did not award Santiago first base. I thought apparently he was hit by the ball.
I think it definitely caught him in the hand of the wrist. I'm not sure what else could have happened there. It might have just hit the bat, but I definitely did not see that. We didn't hear it up here.
It sounded like there may have been some bat there, but it sounded more like what a wooden bat would sound like upon being hit with the ball. So I think that was just Santiago's hand, which would mean that was a very painful hit by pitch and that he earned that base.
Without a doubt.
Those absolutely hurt.
Thank God it's not a cold day. If it was a cold day, that would really be stinging right now.
No doubt about that, Joe. Is the weather this year, on the days that we have played, of course, there have been some reschedulings and some rainouts, but when we have played baseball and softball, the weather has been excellent every single time, with the exception of one brief spurt of rain. I believe it was against Stack for men's baseball back on April 9th. But other than that, excellent weather. As the 1-0 pitch to Thomas Joyce misses for ball 2. Joyce 0 for 3. Couple of strikeouts and a ground out. As that one is popped up, could be trouble in shallow left, and coming on to make the catch is Battaglia for the first out of the inning. Sal Trancucci will be the batter. Trancucci 1 for 2. Hit into a fielder's choice. Hit a sacrifice fly and doubled in 3 at-bats so far. And we nearly had another hit batter right there as Trancucci checks the swing, and that hit off the handle of the bat and traveled straight towards the Saints on deck circle. Here comes the 0-1. And that's hit sharply on the ground and through the hole on the left side for a base hit. That's Trancucci's second base hit of the game. And the Dolphins now have 2 men on with 1 out. And Brian Burkhead coming to the plate. Brian Burkhead had a very busy top half of the 7th. 3 putouts in the top half of this inning. And he looks at ball 1 right here in the first pitch of this at-bat. Burkhead 1 for 3. He's grounded out, flown out, and doubled. That double brought home the 8th Dolphins run. As they will check on Trancucci at first. The ball gets away, and Santiago will stop over at third. And that will be an E1 on the poor throw to first base. That one skipped in, and that awards the Dolphins 2 extra bases, 1 for Santiago and 1 for Trancucci. Want to know the count on Burkhead. Dolphins can break this game wide open with a base hit here. Infield in all around for the Saints, as that is a bad angle taken by 2 outfielders out there for D'Youville. As Liam and Santos converged on the ball, a relay throw coming to the plate, and sliding in safely is Trancucci with the 10th Dolphins run. That will be an RBI double for Brian Burkhead. 2 runs come in to score on the play. And CSI now leads by 7. Our score is 10-3 Dolphins. The Dolphins have not taken their foot off of the gas in this game, as it looks like we have an injury out on the field for the Saints. I did not see Critelli involved in that play at all, and he is leaving the field. So it looks like we will have a defensive realignment upcoming for D'Youville, as that was Santos being waved in toward the infield. Coming out of the dugout and moving into right field is Kevin Sanders. I was ready to pull out the binoculars, but the Saints wearing black jerseys with white numbers. Very easy to distinguish here who is who from up in the booth. I'm not exactly sure what happened. I don't know. Do we have replay, Joe?
No, it's been a little too long. I really didn't see what happened either.
Defensive changes just passed along to us from the Dolphins dugout. Assistant coach James Marticos passing those along to Dave on stats. So once again, the changes for the Saints. Critelli comes out of the game, apparently injured, and we don't know exactly what happened. We just saw him leave the field in apparent discomfort.
Okay. Yep.
Taking his place in the game is Kevin Sanders, who goes out to right field, and moving from right field to first base is Mateo Santos. So the new defensive alignment for the Saints: Santos at first, Quinones at second, Mucci at short, Gunther at third, and then from left to right in the outfield, Battaglia, Leem, and Sanders. Behind the plate is Glinski, and on the mound is Gloniak. So Louis Mandiel will be the batter. His team now ahead by 7 runs. Dolphins comfortably in front after trailing for the first 3.5 innings. Make it 4, and there's another hit batter, the second of the inning by Gloniak, and once again there are 2 Dolphins on. Gloniak hasn't had much success pitching inside. And Nick Cipoletti will be the batter. He almost hit Trancucci as well when he came up and in with a fastball, and Trancucci got the handle of the bat on it. As I'm not sure there's any Dolphin who appears to be swinging harder than Nick Cipoletti at first pitches. Every time he comes to the plate, takes a big first pitch hack, and once again comes up empty for strike 1. Looking to make it a 10-run game with one big swing right there as he looks at a called strike 2. As that breaking ball in the inside corner, a good pitch in on the hands from Gloniak. Oh, into the count on Cipoletti. And that is on the outside corner for a called strike 3. So Nick Cipoletti strikes out on 3 pitches, and there are now 2 away. Thomas Martin is the batter. For Cipoletti, that was his 3rd strikeout of the game. And Thomas Martin will come to the plate. He's 2 for 4 with a pair of doubles. And any day where you have a hitter getting to the plate 5 times, you have to feel pretty good about what you've done offensively. And for the Dolphins, they needed a game like this in the most desperate way, having lost 4 straight against a team that has really struggled both at the plate and on the bump. And a good pickoff there probably had Mandiel too far off of first base. Instead, Gloniak looking a bit apprehensive throwing the ball over to first, and also needed to wait for Santos to get there and cover. He was not holding Mandiel on. Pitch to Martin is upstairs for ball 1. The runner at second is Burkhead. Mandiel over at first. 2 outs in the Dolphins' half of the 7th. CSI leading by 7 as Martin chops that one down the third baseline. Fair ball. Throw from Gunther is in time to retire Martin, as it looked like Shendi Ulaj was telling his teammates to hold up and wait before coming off the field, but Shendi's the only one protesting, so we'll head into the break. Dolphins leading by 7 runs heading into the 8th inning.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials. Live music. And the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dine-in order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
And welcome back inside the CSI Baseball Complex. Dolphins leading the Saints by a score of 10-3. Early on in this game, it was all D'Youville. They led 3-0, but since then, it has been all CSI. The Dolphins have scored the last 10 runs in this game, 2 in the bottom half of the fourth, 6 in the bottom half of the fifth, and 2 more in the bottom half of the seventh. Their lead is now 7, our score 10-3. For the Saints, in their half of the eighth, it will be 6, 7, and 8 due up. Leem, Quinones, and Gunther for D'Youville College. And that one finds the zone for a called strike one as Stephen Kalika looks to continue his string of solid relief outings. And that one sails up and away, evening up the count at 1. Make it 1-2 as we came back into this at-bat, 1 pitch deep. And there's a good breaking ball from Kalika. Locked him up on the inside corner. And Kalika sets down Leem on strikes for out number 1. That will bring up Renato Quinones. Quinones 1 for 3. Fly out, a ground out, and a single in the game. And he looks at a called strike 1. And you could hear Kalika grunting out on the mound from up here in the booth as he's putting everything he has into these pitches. Yeah, he is dealing out there right now. Last 2 max effort pitches. That one skipped in for ball 1. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. And that's it out to left center. Burkhead shielding his eyes from the sun, and he makes the catch for out number 2. Two away now in the Saints' half of the eighth, and Matt Gunther is the batter. Gunther with a pair of walks in this game, officially 0 for 1. And the first pitch from Kalika misses outside for ball 1. And the 1-0 finds the zone, evening up the count at 1-1 strike as Kalika is coming set the moment he gets the ball back from Trancucci. I'll have to start clocking him in between pitches for the next couple as he is working quickly. Count 2 balls and 1 strike.
Yeah, that's got to be about 20 seconds in between pitches, you know. He's really moving it.
Joe, I'd be surprised if it was half of that.
Yeah, I mean.
Let's see. About 10.
10, wow.
As that one finds the zone for a called strike 3. So Gunther is set down looking for the final out in the home half of the eighth. Dolphins still lead 10-3 heading into the bottom half of the eighth.
Wayne State Medical School has been my dream medical school since I was 5. Athletics are important, but so is service, so is research, so is becoming a better person. And we expect you to do well athletically, but don't forget the reason you're here, which is to give back to your community and to get good grades. It was my sophomore indoor season. It was the first year with our new head coach. And he comes in and he's like, we could be a national contending team if you guys work hard. And I heard him and I was like, well, I want to be a national champion. I want to be an All-American. And I bought in because he bought into our team. And I qualified to go to indoor nationals. I decided I wanted it, so I went and grabbed it.
Home half of the eighth about to get underway here on CSI Sportsnet. Staten Island leading D'Youville by a score of 10-3. And Joe, I don't want to jinx it. It's a bit late in the game to do so. This has been one of the quickest 9-inning games we have ever covered. 2 hours and 6 minutes. I know I'm bold bringing it to light right now, but this game has been moving along despite 13 runs scored and 23 base hits.
Yeah, for that amount of hits on both sides and the runs given up, this game is moving extremely fast.
And I think if you're someone who likes a fast-moving game, credit goes to the pitchers in this one because Metzger, with nobody on base, was working very quickly. Kaliko was working at an incredible pace during that last inning. And then the starter in the game, Zimian for the Saints, was also working very quickly. So if you're a fan of a high-paced game, credit goes to those guys as Ulaj hits one over to short, and Shendi Ulaj will ground out for out number one in the bottom of the eighth. That will bring up Peter Lombardo. Lombardo 2 for 4 in the game, single and a double in his 4 plate appearances. And the first pitch to Lombardo is in for a called strike one. So if you plan to join us here on the ECC Network tomorrow, our scheduled, as that one's hit on the ground, and we have changes upcoming for the College of Staten Island. Those are being passed along to the booth right now, but in just a moment I'll share tomorrow's schedule and the schedule for the next 3 days, as it will be a very busy week for CSI Sportsnet to close out the 2021 spring season. So Michael Crocker will be the pinch hitter for Angel Santiago. Crocker had a couple of base hits across 2 games the last time we covered Dolphins baseball. He was actually at the plate with a chance to give CSI the win. Runners on second and third, 2 outs in their second game against Mercy last Saturday. And Crocker went down on a check swing strike 3 as he fouls that 1-0 pitch away. But as I was saying, busy week for Sportsnet getting started tomorrow. 2 games between these 2 teams. Game 1 scheduled for 12 p.m. We'll be joining you on the air at approximately 11:45 a.m. as Crocker hits one to straightaway right field, and Sanders makes the catch. Didn't make it look easy, but that is the 3rd out of the inning. We'll bring you the rest of this week's schedule on the ECC Network for Sportsnet and the final half inning of play if CSI can keep D'Youville off the scoreboard once again. Dolphins lead by 7.
My dad was a soccer coach and bought this little book bag. I could sit in the book bag, like facing backwards and look like my legs out. So I'd be in his book bag when my dad coaches and the ball's going around. I'm like kicking at the ball in the back. And my dad was like, we have a prodigy. So he put me into soccer and it just progressed from there. The catalyst was the opportunity to play soccer at a Division II school. On my team, I thrive to work as hard as I can. I mean, whatever you do on the field, there's a positive correlation to whatever else you do, be it personal relationships, homework, the way you carry yourself. I've changed since I got to King University. It's really helped me to develop as a leader. I think it's honestly the best thing that's ever happened.
And we are back here from the CSI Baseball Complex. Top half of the ninth inning about to get underway at the 2 hour and 10-minute mark of this game. A very quick bottom of the eighth brings the Saints to the plate, trailing by 7 runs in what could be their final turn at bat of the afternoon. First order of business here in the top of the ninth. Changes for the Dolphins. We saw Michael Crocco pinch hit for Angel Santiago to bring the bottom half of the eighth to a close. Crocco remains in the game and comes to play second base. So moving over from second to third is Shendi Ulaj, and taking the place of Thomas Joyce in right field is Jack Verone. Nate Mucci will get things started for D'Youville. 9-1-2 due up in the top of the ninth, and Mucci takes a called strike one and then looks it down in the dirt for ball one as Kalika continues to work at a rapid pace out on the mound. As I promised ahead of the break, our schedule for this week on SportsNet, or at least through this weekend and Monday, we have a doubleheader tomorrow between these two teams scheduled to begin at 12 p.m. I'll be joining you once again on the air at approximately 11:45, perhaps alongside Joe for a little while, maybe alongside Nick Durst later in the day. So I'll have a lot of familiar faces joining me here on Sportsnet tomorrow. Then on Sunday, a CSI softball doubleheader. I think first pitch in game one is 12:30 on Sunday. Or Monday, I should say. That would be Sunday. So many changes, can't keep track. So that would put us on the air at approximately 12:15 p.m. on Sunday. And more softball on Monday, Wednesday, and our season finale here at the CSI Baseball Complex scheduled for next Friday. So a lot of CSI Dolphins athletics upcoming on the ECC network during the next 7 days to bring 2021 spring to a close. 3-2 the count on Mucci, and he chops one to third. It gets by Ulaj and under Cipoletti's glove and into left field. That will be a leadoff single for Nate Mucci, his second hit of the game. Tough luck base hit there, surrendered by Kalika. For Kalika, that's the first hit he has allowed. Had thrown 2 perfect innings up until that point. And Mateo Santos takes a look at strike one. Santos is 2 for 4 with a couple of singles. And the 0-1 pitch misses, evening up the count at 1-1. And the 1-1 pitch finds the zone for strike 2. Kalika in search of strikeout number 3 right here. Ahead in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Mucci the runner on first. Nice size lead. And he hits one, or I should say, Santos hits one softly on the ground to second. Dolphins wisely take the sure out at first and will throw behind Mucci, who slides back into second base safely. There's now 1 away, and Jeremy Glinsky is the batter. It's been a good day for Glinsky. A couple of base hits early in the game. Got a 2-0 pitch he liked in his last at-bat and just got underneath it. Officially 2 for 4. And he looks at ball 1 downstairs. And the 1-0 pitch sails up and away for ball 2. Glinsky ahead in the count, 2-0 once again. Had the green light last time, and why not? Perhaps here trailing by 7 will be a bit more patient, and he looks at ball 3. But with 2 men on last time, and his team a bit closer in the game. Certainly can understand why DeUville's leading hitter would be swinging the bat in that spot. Here comes the 3-0 pitch, and that's in for a called strike one. Three balls and one strike the count, and that's it up in the air, out toward right field. Verone settling underneath it, and he makes the catch as Mucci will tag from second and will be into third base standing. But DeUville is now down to their final out. Starting pitcher Alex Zimian is the batter. Was also the designated hitter for DeUville. He would be the losing pitcher if this final score stands, and it appears as if it will, with DeUville trailing by 7 runs and down to their final out. Unfortunately for the Saints, they scattered their 11 base hits. The Dolphins really bunched them up in the middle innings during the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. And that allowed CSI to put together 10 runs across those 4 innings. On this day, that has been more than enough. Bit of a rocky start on the mound for Nick Metzger, but he really settled down through the middle innings when the Dolphins' bats got going. And that combination of Metzger's strong pitching and the Dolphins' hitting propelled CSI to a lead that they have yet to relinquish. As the 1-0 pitch finds the zone. Count even on Zimian at 1 ball and 1 strike. And he takes low in the dirt for ball 2. Here comes the 2-1, and that's hit toward the middle. Crocco can't make the play on the backhand. He would not have had a play over at first regardless, as that will be Zimian's second hit of the game. He's now 2 for 4. And that will give Josh Battaglia a chance, as picking up an RBI on the play was Zimian. And the Saints have trimmed the lead down to 6. Our score now 10-4. Stephen Kalika looking for one more out as he misses inside on his first pitch to Battaglia. And the 1-0 gets by Trancucci, and jogging over to second is Zimian. Another runner in scoring position for DeUville. Their deficit is 6, 2 away in the top half of the 9th inning. And the 2-0 finds the outside corner for a called strike. Kalika at approximately 45 pitches right now, as his 2-1 is hit it in the air out toward second base, and Cipoletti lost it in the sun. That goes down as a hit with no player making contact with the ball. And in a game with a very different score, that would be all too typical for this Dolphins team that has really struggled defensively at times. But that goes down as hit number 13 for the Saints. They now have runners on the corners with 2 outs. And Kevin Sanders will get his first at bat of the day. And Sanders looks at the first pitch he sees this afternoon for a called strike 1.
I don't think.
And Sanders takes strike 2 on the outside corner. So Sanders quickly behind, 0-2. Saints down to their final strike. And that is swung on and missed for strike 3. So Stephen Kalika closes the door on DeUville. Sanders slams the bat down in disappointment, but the Dolphins come away with a victory in the first of 3 against the Steubenville College Saints team by a score of 10-4. The final line for CSI, 10 runs on 13 base hits, 2 errors. For Dieuville, 4 runs also on 13 base hits with 2 errors. These two teams are right back at it tomorrow. Game 1 of our scheduled 2-game ECC doubleheader set to begin at 12 p.m. We will be right back on the air here on the ECC network at approximately 11:45. For the College of Staten Island on the season, their record improves to 4-14. They are now 4-12 in the East Coast Conference. Dieuville falls to 2-20 on the year, 0-16 in ECC play. So until tomorrow, and we'll be back with you for Game 1 of a doubleheader between these two teams, we thank you for watching. For our engineer, Joe Masha, our statistician, David Pizzuto, this has been Joe Foreman. We thank you for watching.